Today, we're going to try and get a handle on the really complex forces shaping modern Britain. You hear it a lot, but it's true. The nation really is at a crossroads. So we're going to unpack the major challenges that are going to define which path it takes.
So, what truly defines a nation's future? It's a massive question, right? But the answer probably isn't what you think. It's not about some grand speech from a politician or one single dramatic event. No. A country's future is shaped by its core challenges, those deep, persistent pressures that quietly influence everything from the political headlines to our everyday lives.
Okay, so to really understand what's going on in Britain, we're going to break it down into three key areas. Think of them as the three pillars holding everything up: the economic landscape, the political climate, and the social fabric. Each one is a huge piece of the puzzle, and you can't really understand the full picture without looking at all three.
All right, let's dive into that first section, the economic squeeze. We're starting here for a reason. The economy is kind of like the foundation of the house. How a country makes and shares its money, well, that has a huge ripple effect on absolutely everything else.
So, if there's one phrase that sums up Britain's economic story for the last decade or so, it's this: the productivity puzzle. It sounds a bit academic, but all it really means is that the UK economy has been stuck. It's not getting better at producing things efficiently. Growth has been super sluggish, and believe me, that has some really serious consequences down the line.
And look, this isn't just some abstract problem for economists to worry about. This is something people feel in their wallets. You can see it right here. For a long time, the cost of everything, food, fuel, housing, has been going up faster than people's paychecks. And that gap you see, that's the squeeze. That's the pressure people are feeling every single day.
So why does this matter so much? Well, a flatlining economy isn't just a news headline. It means there's less money in the pot for things we all rely on, like the NHS. And on a personal level, it just means more financial stress for households trying to get by. This economic pressure, it really sets the stage for everything else we're about to talk about.
Which brings us right to our next section, a kingdom divided. Because you have to ask, what happens when that economic pressure cooker starts to build? Well, when people feel squeezed and worried about their future, that anxiety often spills over into the political world, creating friction and, you guessed it, division.
And that brings us to this key idea: political polarization. Now, this is more than just people disagreeing or having a healthy debate. This is when society starts to split into these really rigid opposing camps. The middle ground just vanishes, and finding any kind of compromise becomes incredibly difficult.
And you can see it in the data. When you look at the biggest, most fundamental issues facing the country, public opinion is often split almost perfectly down the middle, 50-50. The margins are razor thin, which makes it really hard to find a shared path forward that everyone can get behind.
And the consequences of this are, well, they're pretty serious. As this political analyst puts it, when that trust in our shared institutions start to crumble, the very foundations of democracy start to get a bit shaky. It's not just about arguing, it's about losing faith in the systems that are meant to hold everything together.
And so, why does this matter? Because all this division leads to one thing: gridlock. It's like the whole system gets stuck. You've got these massive challenges. Remember that productivity puzzle from earlier? But the political infighting makes it almost impossible to pass the kind of big, bold, long-term solutions that are desperately needed.
Okay, so let's recap where we are. We have a stagnant economy that's fueling political division. That leads us to our third section, a society under strain. And the next big question: what does all that do to the social fabric? The connections between us, in our communities, in our day-to-day lives.
And this is where we need to talk about social cohesion. It's a simple idea, really. Just think of it as the glue that holds a society together. It's that feeling of trust, that sense of solidarity, that feeling that deep down we're all in this together.
But one of the biggest things putting a strain on that glue is the massive inequality between different parts of the country. I mean, just look at the economic gap between London and the Southeast and, well, pretty much everywhere else. When it feels like your opportunities in life are decided by your postcode, it gets a lot harder to feel like we're all part of one big national team. And man, that social fabric has been put through the ringer over the last 20 years. Just think about it. You had the massive shock of the 2008 financial crisis, then the incredibly divisive Brexit referendum, and then the whole world was upended by the COVID-19 pandemic. Each one of those events was like a major stress test, and each one left its scars.
So why does this matter? Because this isn't just some abstract sociological concept. The stakes are deeply human. A fractured society, a society with weak social bonds, can lead to very real things, like more loneliness, a confused sense of national identity, and, critically,
a real problem with pulling together when the next big crisis hits.
So if you boil it all down, economically you've got stagnation.
Politically, you've got division.
And socially, you've got fragmentation.
And that brings us to the final and maybe most important section, the path forward. Now, it's really tempting to look at these as three separate problems to be solved. But here's the key insight, the thing you really need to grasp. They're not separate at all. They are deeply, deeply interconnected. It's all one story.
It's basically a vicious cycle, a feedback loop. Think about it. Economic worries make people more open to populist, divisive politics. That political division then creates gridlock, which stops anything from being done about social inequality. And then, that social fragmentation makes it harder for the country to work together to build a kind of innovative economy that could actually fix the stagnation in the first place. You see, each problem makes the others worse.
So what's the big takeaway from all this? First, Britain's challenges are all tangled up together. You can't pull on one thread without affecting the others. Second, this means that economic prosperity, political unity, and social health aren't separate goals. They're all part of the same project. And finally, just understanding how these things are connected, well, that's the absolute first step to figuring out a way forward. Which leaves us with one final, huge question to think about. It's all these forces, economic, political, and social, are